In this session, we'll try to understand what are relational operators. So far we have seen what are arithmetic operators, which basically perform certain kind of operation on the data or mathematical operation on the data. So relational operators are used to compare the relationship between two operands. Means what? Whenever you have two data, in order to compare these two, we use relational operators. So relational operators are very much helpful whenever you take some decision based on that you want to execute something, then relational operators are going to be very much helpful. So Java supports 6 relational operators. So the comparison means it will use equals operator, not equals operator, greater than, less than or equal to, less than or equal to. So there are total 6 relational operators are supported in Java. So let us understand how do we use them programmatically.
Hey, thanks for watching our content so far. If you're new to Training Monk, we're the fastest growing technology training company and create content to help freshers like you to master the disruptive technologies like full stack development, AML, cloud, DevOps, etc. If you like the content so far, please subscribe to our channel and hit the bell icon not to miss any new content from us. Like and share this video with all your friends. Let's build your career and the community together.
To demonstrate relational operators, let me select a new Java class. I'll just say this as relational operators, and let me select the main method. And so Java supports total 6 relational operators. The first one is equals. Means what? Equal symbol. We were using equals for assignment. But when I say equals the value, we use two equal symbols. This is a relational operator. So very careful. So this basically checks the equality of the value, right? So whether two operand values are equal or not. So that is what we use, equals. So not equals basically checks whether they both are not equals. So then greater than, less than, greater than or equals to, less than or equal to. So greater than is used to say whether this value is greater than that value, less than, greater than or equals, less than or equal. So let us see how basically it will be done, right? Suppose I'm just taking integer number 1 and I'll say number 1 is equal to some 1000, and I'll say integer number 2 is equal to 2000. Okay, or you can take any values, any data here. So the comparison between these two data, right? So now let us see S out, right? So I'll say number 1 equals number 2. So whenever you see equals, so you're just checking whether number 1 and the number 2 are equal. So what basically happens is relational operators are used for checking the relationship and always results in a Boolean value. So if I talk about this, so relational operators result in Boolean. So it either give you true or false. So now if both the values are equal, then it is going to give you true value, or if they are not equal, it is going to give you false value. So let me run this to see what actually the output will get. So since 100 and 2000 are not equal, so you're going to get false. But what actually if I do with a single equals here? So am I getting any compilation error? No, I'm not getting any compilation error. So is it a relational operator here? No, it is not a relational operator. So very important point here to see. So what basically in this scenario it will happen using assignment operator, not equals operator. What assignment operator will do? It assigns a value of number 2 to number 1. So basically what here the operation is happening, number 2 which is 2000 is assigned to number 1. Initially it was 1000. So the 2000 will be assigned to 1000, means what? The number 1 also will become 2000 now. And that number 1 you are printing here. So if I run this, so it is going to give you 2000 as an output. So that is what very, very important here, guys. So the very important point here is it is now giving you 2000, right? So that is what is the output, that what you are getting. So basically what does it do? It is an assignment operation, not relational operation. So that's why you should be so careful of doing it. So now let me do number 1 double equals to number 2. So now this definitely gives me false. So now let me save this and then go and then run. Now here you are going to get either true or false. Now it is false. So now similarly I will check the other operations, number 1 not equals number 2, right? So then you're going to get true here because they both are not equal. So now similarly what I can do as out, I'll say number 1 greater than number 2, which is going to be false, and as out number 1 less than number 2, which is going to be true. Then as out I'll say number 1 greater than or equals to number 2, which again is going to be false. As out number 1 less than or equal to number 2, which is again true. So now equals will check whether it is greater than or equal. So even both the values are same, so it will give you true. And in this case it is going to be false. Okay, so we'll try with the different values to see what actually will happen. So because it is 1000 and 2000, the values are going to be something like this. The first one is going to be false, second one is going to be true, and third one is going to be false, because 1000 greater than 2000 it is going to be false, and then 1000 less than 2000 is true, so you're going to do true, and 1000 greater than or equal to 2000, which is false, and then 1000 less than or equal to 2000, which is going to be true. So now suppose what I do here, I'll also give this as 1000. Okay, now what it should be, now this should be true, should be false. Now what actually with number 1 greater than number 2, now this we will check. Okay, now let me run this just to see. In this case you see the first one is true, obviously, second one is false, and third one is also you're getting false. You see here, even though the numbers are same, whenever you use greater than, so it is going to give you false, right? This is what is a very important. Even though when the values are same, if you do greater than or less than, you're going to get false. And you see both these outputs are false only, but greater than or equal to gave you true, and less than or equal to gave you true, or something like that. Okay, so now a very important point here, guys. So now what I'm doing here is I'm just uncommenting this now. Okay, now in this case what actually happens, so in this case what actually happens, I'm not getting any compilation error here, but here what I'm doing here is I'm just assigning number 2 to number 1. So these kind of questions will get in certification, but what actually happening is here is number 2 is assigned to number 1, and after this instruction number 1 value is not 1000, it will become 2000, right? So then 2000 will be compared to 2000, number 2 is 2000 and then 2000, so you're going to get the values accordingly. Now you see the first one, what does it print is 2000, and number 1 and number 2 equals, because 2000 2000, so true, this is false, this is false, this is false, this is true, this is true. So like that it is going to be. So the relational operators are very, very important because we use them a lot in decision making statements, which you're going to see in our further sessions, especially using an if-else statement and loops. We are going to use them extensively because we use comparisons to take certain kind of decisions. So that's where the relational operators are going to be very much helpful.